Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey.
Welcome to all my Divine Masculine, new Lemurian Divine Masculine that are joining us for this special show. So if you're new here, if you've been here for a while, regardless, this is a little bit of a support and place for the carving out like a space in this craziness that is the ascension process for the Divine Masculine. And I've had, in preparation for this show, I've had so many messages and insights come through this morning before I even got started. And originally, so this is part of a three-part series I'm doing for December. We're going to come in with, well, we came in yesterday with the new Lemurian feminine, kind of like how to find your night, kind of a show. And I really thought it was going to be a pick a card, and I'm letting the guides kind of drive this, so it may seem slightly disjointed, maybe some of the things I say, but I'm letting this series evolve into what's most needed by everyone out there that's going to be partaking of this information, and the different types of journeys that you're on. And when I connect most with the feminine, I do feel like there's really a strong sense for many of the feminine to find their knight, their counterpart, their one. And then I thought, today's show for the masculine was going to be kind of the flip side to that. Like they too, or that's their greatest, wish, and that's really what they want as they're rising in consciousness. That's really like the main thing on their mind, finding their feminine. And I'm like, the guides came in and showed me that, yes, in a sense, yes. But we have to go back a little bit before we can get to that point. We have to start, at least here on the show at TLC for the Soul, we have to build a groundwork for the masculine to basically feel safe coming to the feminine. It may not be, right this second, like a knight on a white horse charging in for Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella, because there's some things that the masculine has been working on, and there's some things that I feel like they need. We're talking to you. You are the masculine watching this. You could be a divine feminine cross watching for a divine masculine. So we'll say that. But ultimately, you are watching this to better understand or to get some support where you're at on your journey. And this morning for the dailies, I do dailies on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The I Wish I Belonged Somewhere illustration came out as the backdrop for that. And when I went to change it for this one, I was like, because this book that we're using, Wonderstruck, has over 100 and some odd more illustrations. I said, well, give me one, because I know there's a masculine, like a boy and a girl in this story. So I'm like, give me a boy picture or whatever, since this is a divine masculine. And they kept bringing me back to I Wish I Belonged Somewhere. And in preparation for the table, and this is going to be talking and some cards, okay, to support the divine masculine. So don't be worried that there's no cards yet, okay? Because I want to get these things out on the table so we can all be on the same page about where we are right now. Either as I'm recording this, which is mid-December 2023, right before the winter solstice, or whenever divine masculine you find this show and you partake of this information, our intention is always for the best and highest good of all involved. With coming in with information of the highest vibe, hence the new Lemurian moniker that we have out there. But when I went to prepare this little space you're looking at for this show, my son collects GI Joes, and I'm like, just give me a Joe, give me one that doesn't look angry, because I'm like, they all look so angry. And he's like, I said, why do they all look so angry? And he's like, well, they're in combat, Mom. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he let me look through. He has boxes and boxes of these dudes from like the old 60s ones all the way up. And I said, let me look and let me pick one out. And the one I found, I don't know the age of some of these. That's not really important. But the one I found, this is like a newer. No, is this a vintage guy? I don't know. He doesn't have the right shoes on. But the one I found, first of all, the neck, the throat chakra looks like he is just being choked. And the pack on the back looks so heavy. And I put him down, and I was going to put him sitting down. And I'm like, no, he's not really sitting down. He's doing the work, but he's doing a lot. You listening, or he, if you're watching, like the divine masculine is doing a lot of work right now on themselves. And it may feel like a heavy pack because in addition to, the work that you're doing on yourself and your quest for Andara, which we'll get to in a second, you're also living your daily regular life, right? Just like the divine feminine. But I feel like the divine feminine always seems like she's just a little bit further along in the ascension process than the masculine, and that the masculine always feels like there's this catching up that they have to do. And in a sense, maybe, but not completely. I think everyone's in a different stage of your awakening, your spiritual journey, and your path. And we may get some myriad of messages here because we may have folks tuning in who are newer divine masculine to the spiritual journey, and we may have some divine masculine who have been doing this for quite some time. And hence this quest for Andara. So like I said, when I had the idea for the second part of the show, I was all expecting it to be like divine masculine, the quest to your feminine or whatever. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. It's this quest for Andara. And Andara, if you're familiar with Andara crystals, they're supposed to be like super high vibe crystals. They're not even supposed to be, of this planet. They're supposed to be from a very other dimensional place where, they come in all these different colors, and people try to replicate those. I'm not saying there's not real Andaras here on the planet or whatever, but I'm saying people sometimes they're more man-made here, but they try to recreate something that they've seen somewhere else. It's like very high vibe, like the colors are, sometimes kind of like, whoa, I'd never see that in a man-made, in a crystal that came out of the ground kind of a thing. And so what I think for this quest to Andara is I feel like, and it's not just me feeling like this, I'm channeling this information through the guides, and I want to make sure there's any other guides, because I do have Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians here, any other guides that want to step in and help with this conversation. Archangel Chamuel. And then we've got some other guides supporting us well from some of the different kingdoms, dragon, fairy, angelics, everyone's, divine masculine, everyone's doing the best that they can. I feel like there is this, what feels like an imbalance of power, where the masculine feels like, this divine feminine, these divine feminines, however you want to put it, society and like people on the spiritual path are so much further along than I am. I have so much work to do that it almost seems unattainable. And when every time I look at something about the spiritual journey, it's always talks about if you're connecting with Lemurian energies or Lemurian energies, like high vibe, I'm talking about high vibe stuff. If you're here, you're not connecting with, lower energy stuff about the spiritual journey, because it can go, many different directions. But I feel like it's like you've created this spiritual journey that nobody could live up to. You want me to be perfect. And it's like, no. And I feel like the masculine needs support because there's not a lot of support out there that's directly specific to the divine masculine spiritual journey. I feel like they're saying it's lacking. There's some, but the majority of what you see is all directed mainly towards the feminine. And I feel like there's this divine masculine, your guides want you to know that you are enough. There is this place where you belong, and it's not out of your reach. It's not this Andara, off planet that you can never really attain it. Because the original G.I. Joe I wanted for this setup was the astronaut, because my son has the astronaut one. I don't know what it's from, the 60s or 70s or whatever. And I'm like, but no, he's not. We're seeking nirvana on earth, which is quite and is very real and is very possible. This heaven on earth, this Garden of Eden, we're seeking that. It's not a fantasy land. Oh, it can be a fantasy land, but it's not a fantasy place that's outside of your current reality. It's a place that you can attain as long as you're diligent in your spiritual practice, your meditation, keeping your energy clear, keeping your vibe high, not falling back into lower energies, or being so self-aware that if you do find yourself falling back into lower energy, that you recognize that, like, oh, falling back into lower energy, and pull yourself back into high vibe reality. It's possible. It's being done. It's not unattainable. It takes practice. The two songs that came up this morning on my playlist, well, I don't know how one of them just showed up, kind of gave me a sense for how far the divine masculine actually has come. And so I want you masculines to give yourself a pat on the back. Source does recognize, and your guides and your angels do recognize and validate all the intense work that you've done on yourself. The two songs that came out, one was so horrible, I can't even say the lyrics online. But it was Eminem, and it was the song Superman. And I told my son, oh, this song came on this morning. It was so horrible. I can never play it again. And he listened to it. And of course he's like, yeah, that's, well, he's younger. So he's 16. So he's like, that's lit. That's really good. But that was like one of his darker periods. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it kind of shows me, first of all, there's a lot of stereotypical energy in that song about the unhealed masculine. And I'm not to say that doesn't happen, because there's many of feminines listening or watching that have had firsthand experience with that type of unhealed masculine that's talking in that particular song. So you can go listen or look up the lyrics of that song or listen to it or whatever. I like Eminem, but I was like, oh, I don't think I can ever listen to this song ever again. It's too much for me. And then right after that, this morning I woke up hearing the song Eternal Flame by the Bangles. And I played the two back to back. So I was going in the car with the dog on morning little drive, and I played Superman by Eminem, and I was like, oh my God, I never want to hear that again. And then I put on Eternal Flame by the Bangles, and I'm like, that is where we're headed. That is what we're looking for. the energy, even if you don't listen to the lyrics are really pretty good in both of them, but even if you just listen to the change up in the tone of the one to the other, the Eternal Flame song by the Bangles is very much attainable on earth, in this lifetime, in this now. And for the majority of you Divine Masculine listening or watching, you've got what it takes to attain that level of high vibe spiritual life, even with the 3D world around you. It exists. There are Divine Masculines doing this work and doing it quite well in the world, on the spiritual path and the spiritual journey. So they want to tell me, like, Tony Robbins and my teacher, Master Co. And I always find it comforting when I wonder, like, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but like when I think about my teacher, I think about, like, sometimes when I wonder, like, is this journey really real? Am I just making up this crap? Is this just kind of, is being this high vibe, like, really, truly, is this real? Am I living in some sort of fantasy land? And then I listen to the teachings of some of these, and I know there's more out there, I don't know them all, but when I listen to some of these high vibe teachings, then I'm like, there are Divine Masculine that are embodying these truths and living these types of lifestyles. And many of you that have been doing this journey for a while are in contact with some of your own. I know some of you have. I just know, like, through the knowing, not like I know you are and what you're doing, but that you all have access to your own, personal healers, shaman, medicine people, Reiki masters, whatever, that are Divine Masculines as well. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm saying for those of you watching this, I feel like when I totally got a redirect on what today's show was going to be about, it was kind of like, whoa, I think the Divine Masculines are feeling this heavy burden of feeling like they have to live up to this unattainable truth, that maybe it doesn't exist, that it is some fantasy land like Andar or Camelot or whatever. Type in the name of the quest you want to be on, the quest to Camelot, the quest to Nirvana, the quest to Shambhala, whatever. Lemuria. It does exist, that those energy streams are really have taken over the majority of the planet. Not that lower energy doesn't exist, but we've been able to raise the consciousness of the planet, and enough people systemically, and there's enough of us doing the work of keeping the vibration of the planet high, that is now its dominant state, is high vibe. And you have to, like, either reach up to grab it, or you're already in it, but you're like a shapeshifter. You can go between worlds, and you can go do the 3D thing and realize, like, whoa, that's totally not where I want to be all the time. And then you can come back up to your own Nirvana or your own Andara, and you can raise your vibe again. So let's get a few cards, because I know that was a really long intro, but I feel like you guys need to hear that. Okay, I've got the Gil Tarot. I just want to get any other messages for Divine Masculine that are watching. Yeah, look, Prince of Wands, aspiration. And so I would say to you then, Divine Masculine, with that card coming out, don't give up. This is completely attainable. This is not some pie in the sky vision of the new earth reality. Yeah, and the bottom of the deck was the King of Swords. Trust how you feel. I think many of you have worked very hard on, keeping your vibe high, clearing your energy, building up your chakras through meditation and breath work, and working on yourself, and working on your physical self and your spiritual self. And so this is not a time to give up or give in. Lower energy is not taking over the planet. It's where you choose to put your focus. And I'm looking again, they keep showing me like I wish I belonged somewhere, and kind of behind that is like a city building or something. Like a couple pages back, I can see it kind of flicked out. And it's like, you make the choice of where you belong and when you belong there. So what they keep trying to reiterate is, just because you have to be in the 3D, or you have to deal with 3D people that aren't on a spiritual journey or spiritual path, doesn't mean that's where you belong. If you don't want to be there, it means that you turn yourself into the shapeshifter that you are, and you recognize how to be in this world but not of it. And if you don't want to be where you're at, then you set your sights higher. You check in with your guides. You don't have to do this all by yourself. Your guides, your angels, your spiritual support team, God, source, whatever name, whoever you work with, the dragons. I've got dragon energy. And in the background of this, I do have the divine feminine holding a very strong stance and space on behalf of the divine masculine. So for all you divine masculine that are out there and are seeking their divine feminine, there is a divine feminine meant just for you that's been holding space for you, waiting for you and ready for you when you feel like you're ready to move forward. There's no pressure to do something at a certain time. There's no timeline that says that you have to show up, now, tomorrow, or next week. There are nudges from your guides at certain points when they feel like you're ready and maybe you're doubting yourself to move forward a little bit. But no one's forcing you to do anything you don't want to do on your spiritual path. Let's get this magical, mystical dogs tarot, because I feel like many of you have been on this solitary journey with some sort of a familiar as your companion. We've got the seer, which in this deck is, which is the the hangman. But it's not a hangman that's inactive, because when I read from the book, I'm not going to read from the book, but in this particular card, this dog is seeking wisdom. They're in this state of like altered consciousness, with all of these talismans and crystals and things hanging from the tree. And their crown chakra is very lit up. And they're almost seeking altered states of consciousness through the other realms. So if you feel like you need a timeout, and I don't know, maybe because it's a busy season right now for some of you, and you feel like you just need a timeout, you need to get away in nature, and you need to like revive your energy, then you need to do what you need to do in order to do what you need to do. Let's see here. Let's get the Brian Proud fairy deck. So I want to see what fairy guides are supporting the masculine. Yes. Okay, this came out earlier too. This is, I cannot get the name, Nellis the Alchemist. This is all about alchemizing energy. So again, if you feel like, a place isn't the way you want it to feel, then it's within your power to call in your guides and clear the energy of that space. So I feel like the message is shifting a little bit to you, the divine masculine, as an earth guardian, as a bringer of the light, in charge of your own reality, the magician. I see you very strong. And I do see, that like knight energy. I do see you knight on the white horse. So I feel like the energy is shifting, and maybe just in the hearing of the beginning of this show, that it's okay, and the validation has brought you, is bringing you back now to this feeling of like, yeah, okay, I can do this. I can make this happen. And maybe it helps to hear. So in my case, when I'm like wobble, when I'll call it a wobble. When I wobble, it's with Jenny on New Magic Tarot calls it a wobble. When you're having just a wobble, and you feel like you go up and down in your vibe, right? And there's a lot of like outer energy right now. In the astrology and the astrological transits happening on the planet right now with the holidays, you can fall into like, whoa, high vibe, it's the holidays, or you can fall into the like, woe is me, it's the holidays and I'm lonely and where's my person and all that. And so I feel like you can shift this at will and be the alchemist of your own reality. And I feel that here. So when I see when I hear a divine masculine talk about the spiritual path and the spiritual journey, and that they're having some of the same experiences that I am. When I hear Master Ko talk about angels and dragons and devas and all that, and he's this like raw, tough divine masculine. Why would he be talking about those things? Like, oh no, okay, it makes me feel better. Like, oh yeah, all right, I get it. So maybe I feel like for you guys, you're the masculine when maybe you hear a divine feminine talking about some of these things. I don't know. Somehow maybe it helps. Somehow the energy maybe helps shift your reality a little bit. All right. Since we started talking about Earth Guardians and Bringers of the Light, which is what you guys are, just as the feminine is, I'm going to get a card from the Archangel Michael pack and see if there's anything else the guys want to share with you. Oh my gosh, the same card that came out earlier. Okay, so we have shifted the message a little bit from the pep talk to let you know back to the I wish I belonged somewhere that's out over there, not to give up on love. A relationship you cherish can be healed. Allow me, which is Archangel Michael in this case, his deck, to clear the way for forgiveness so that love can thrive again. So that may be the other thing happening here too, is with that song that I said earlier, that Superman song from Eminem, I was like, there's really people in relationships like this. It's awful. I feel like there's some divine masculine who really do want this place of belonging. You're longing for this place with a divine feminine, non-gender specific, doesn't have to be, we're just talking about the energy, not the type of person, not the type of human. But I think you are longing for those high vibe relationships, and trust yourself. Back to the 3 cards here. You don't need many cards. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. There is someone out there just for you. The Spirit's got them like just for you. Lady in waiting. Knights on white horses. There's this lady in waiting. This is my little Valentina lady. Just for you. It reminds me of Home Alone. We've got this cheese pizza. Oh, this is Home Alone too. We've got a cheese pizza just for you. We've got a divine feminine, high vibe, divine feminine waiting just for you when you're ready. And trust how you feel about that, because many of you feel this person, maybe many of you, because as it goes with this journey that we work on here on the channel, many of the divine masculines know who the divine feminine is and are kind of like this, secret admirer in the background. I'm afraid to come forward and be rejected. And the divine feminine is on the opposite side of that, going, where is this energy that I feel in my field, this love? This is like so good. When is this person going to show up? I feel them. I'm holding space for this person. And it's like, be here. They're saying, be here right now and feel both of you, whoever's watching, if it's the feminine, if it's the masculine, like, just tap into your intuition and your heart and feel the energy of this person that's wanting the same things that you're wanting too. And they're saying, like, if you only reach out, I won't reject you because I've been waiting for you too. And the divine masculine's heart is saying, I wish I belonged somewhere. I feel like that somewhere is with you, but I don't know how to say that because it feels like you've built divine masculine, like you're putting this chance of this relationship on a big old pedestal. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's just two human beings coming together, but they're really high vibe human beings. I think we can romanticize it, but we don't have to romanticize it to the point where it seems unattainable, which is, I think, the overall message for this quest to Andara. You don't have to romanticize it being your spiritual journey, your spiritual path, the new earth now, even the moniker New Lemurian Man, or whatever you want to call this relationship or this thing that you want. If you want to call it a twin flame union, or you want to call it a soulmate, whatever label you want to put on it. Let's not romanticize it to the extent that it feels unattainable. Yes, it's romantic, and yes, it can be romanticized, and you may have a lot of past life feelings coming up that make it feel like, woo, it's just so woo-woo. But ultimately, when you get right down to it, it's two human beings having a spiritual encounter with each other. But we live in the 3D world, and it's going to be grounded. It's going to be fine. This person, whoever it is that you're wishing for, is not so on a pedestal. They're not. I think you think they are, but they're not so on a pedestal that you can't reach out to them. I did at one point say it was the knight coming for their queen, and I'm like, no, because I think that puts too much pressure on the divine masculine, who feels like maybe they are this knight, or that they have to be this knight in shining armor, this Lancelot and Guinevere thing, and that, Guinevere, she's so unattainable, she's this queen of this kingdom, and I can't even, get there, I'm just this knight. We want to meet on equal playing ground, and the energy has to be balanced. The energy has to feel balanced. So find a different archetype for your feminine. Don't raise her so high up on a pedestal that she feels unattainable to you. Take a step back and see her as, this divine human being, just like you're a divine human being, and pick a different, make up your own archetypes. So I'm going to say this and then I'm going to close this out. But I think when I was thinking about, whoever that might be, I was like, I was making it up like, we're Lord and Lady my Ravendale or whatever. I was just creating like my own little kingdom. We're Lord and Lady Ravendale, and we can have our own Ravendale. We can have our own Thunder Rose Ranch or whatever, and we can be Lord. No one has to give us, regal monikers. We can give them to ourselves, and we can be the queen and king, or the Lord and Lady, or the whoever of our own little kingdom. And that's high vibe, and that's just between us, and whoever else is playing the high vibe game with us. And, for the 3D world, we're just who we are. We're just two human beings living a really high vibe life. And then I think, that seems more attainable and less out there, and less, it seems like a quest, divine masculine, that you're perfectly capable of completing. So my guides are saying they are complete. And so I look forward to bringing more of these to you. Probably each month we'll have a little check-in. So divine masculine, if you're curious about what's going on with your divine feminine this month, you can check the flip side to this, which is the new Lemurian feminine, and kind of I don't remember exactly what it's called. It was like the path to your night. So, and then I think the third of this series, I will be bringing in some rose dragon light language and healing for both the masculine and the feminine. But I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. I hope you'll come back again and hang out with us. And until then, we will see you all again soon. Take care.
This episode has been brought to you by Buns and Such, Tessa Locke's premium bakery and workout bar. Visit anytime during the week and enjoy a free mini workout session and chocolate-filled donut. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you again soon.